Hi, I'm Jerry Ford from Attic Treasures in Occoquan, Virginia, and this month's So Creative Club's topic is bags, bags, bags. In fact, we call it Bag Lady. So, keeping in line with that, I've come up with a cute little design. It's a PES format for you to make a luggage handle wrap, and it's very easy to do, and it's quilted, and it's all done in the hoop, except for sewing the Velcro on. And it only takes about 10 minutes to do it. Let's get started. Okay, for this project you're going to need either your 5x7 hoop or the 6x10 hoop. I've got designs for you in both sizes. For today I'm going to be using the 5x7 hoop. So what you're going to need is cutaway stabilizer, or it could be tearaway, but I prefer the cutaway. It just gives a little more body to the item. Okay, you're going to need 2 pieces of cotton fabric, approximately 7 by 9 inches, maybe a little bit bigger for the 6 by 10, and a piece of batting, also about 7 by 9 inches. Okay, you're also going to need embroidery bobbin thread to be contrasting for the lettering, and I'm going to use like a yellow like this for the cross hatching and the top stitching. Okay, so I'm going to simply just hoop my stabilizer, and stabilizer only. Okay, I'm going to place it in the hoop nice and snug, and I want to countersink this, which means I'm pushing the corners into the bottom of the hoop so that it leaves, let's see if you can see that, a slight lip right here. If you can see, that just sticks out just a little bit here. That helps to push the stabilizer closer to the bed of the machine. Okay, I've loaded this design into my machine, and I'm using Embroidery Edit. If you have a chance to, if you have a machine that has edit capabilities, you can do this right on your machine. If you need to add lettering to your embroidery project, you may need to have some editing software on your computer if your machine does not have editing capabilities. So I'm going to add some lettering, and I think I will pick this font. I like that font. Okay, I need my lettering to be in the middle right here, so because that's the center of my design, and these ends that are sticking out right here are going to be wrapped underneath the handle. So I'm going to add the lettering. So let's see, I'm going to put, I think I'll make this for Pearl. So Pearl, C, and her new married name, G. Okay, and I'm going to set, and I'm going to center this on the wrap. And I might make this just a tiny bit smaller. It's just a little bit too big, both in width and in height. That's about how I like it, and I'm going to move it over just a bit. Okay, that's centered about in the middle, so I'm ready to go stitch and edit and to embroidery. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I am going to load the machine with the hoop, and it's going to stitch the outline for placing the fabric. Okay, I've put yellow embroidery thread into my needle just so we can see it. And the first thing we're going to do is sew right on the stabilizer. So I'll lower my needle, and here we go. I want to make sure I have a piece of batting that will cover the stitching line. It needs to cover it completely. Same with the fabric. So I'm going to cover it all. You could spray it down to give it so that it makes sure it doesn't shift around, but this is a fairly simple design, so it's I'm not going to do that, so I'm just going to hold it for a little bit, and it's going to stitch the outline. Okay, because actually it's going to do the cross hatching, and I want that yellow. I made it a separate color stop in case you wanted to change the color, but I'm just going to leave the same color, yellow, to do the cross hatching. And it did miss a little bit here, but it doesn't really matter because it's all going to be stitched over and over again. I'm going to skip ahead the next color stop, which is color stop number 4, because I want to put an initial in here. If I didn't want to put an initial in here, I just continue on. But if you're going to put an initial in here, then you're going to switch colors, and I want this to have nice lime green lettering. If you will notice, see, this next color is going to show a partial outline. That's so we can put fabric right sides together and sew the luggage wrap together, but I want to go ahead and skip ahead to the lettering. So I'm going to use this plus and minus key, and I'm going to go ahead a whole color stop. If you don't have this machine or a machine like this, check your user's manual in order to find out how you advance colors. And I'm going to go ahead and stitch this off camera, because this is the longest part of it all. Okay, it's finished sewing the lettering, so I am going to go back to my plus or minus, and I am going to advance it past to that stitch that we were at before, which is color stop number 4, before it did the lettering, because I've already done the lettering. And I am going to put regular sewing thread into my needle. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to place another piece of fabric right sides together, and I'm going to just let it stitch it. All done. So I am going to remove the hoop from the machine and remove the fabric from the hoop. Now this is already sewn together, so I have an opening here to turn things, but first I'm going to trim it all the way around about 1/4 of an inch and clip all these little curves. So I'm going to go ahead and do that off camera. Okay, now I have finished stitching it. I'm going to remove this from the hoop. And I'm going to trim. It's easier to see it from this side. I'm going to trim about 1/4 of an inch around, and I want to make sure that you clip all of the curves. I'll go ahead and do this off camera because this is kind of boring, and I'm sure you all know how to clip curves. So what I'm going to do is carefully clip this inner corner real close to the stitching, but be careful not to cut through the stitching. And there's like 4 of these corners here. Now wherever you see these rounded corners, I'm going to cut little V's. That will help reduce the bulk. Again, you want to be careful not to clip through the stitching. Okay, I'll go ahead and finish this. The next thing you want to do is turn this right side out through the opening and then give it a good press. You might also want to trim out the batting from inside the seam line where you're going to have to turn it. That'll help turn it a little easier. It's sort of already stuck to the stabilizer, so here's the opening, and that's just going to make it easier to turn this on the ironing board. Okay, so it's ready to turn. Right sides out. Okay, if you have a point turner, it does help to turn in these tight places. Okay, right here, since I've trimmed away most of the stabilizer, then I can give this a good press. And I like to use the Elmer's school glue to simply base this into place. And once you hit it with the iron, it stays still. You don't have to have pins in there and get this lined up just right. Because then I don't have to do any hand stitching. But you could hand stitch this closed if you so want to. I'm going to top stitch all around the edge anyway, just to give it a crisp edge. And that's going to catch the end of that opening, or the seams in that opening. Okay, I'll press this off camera. See, here's where I glue basted the opening closed. It's nice and secure. It's not going to fall apart. I can see that it's matching exactly on the edge. And so I'm going to top stitch around to catch it. If you've done hand stitching over here to close this opening, you don't need to do the top stitching if you don't want to do it. So I'm going to go ahead and top stitch it. Okay, I have threaded the needle with the same, and the bobbin with the same thread that I used in the cross hatching. I think I'll just start at one end, and I'm just going to do a scant 1/8 of an inch all the way around. Now we're going to apply the Velcro. So this is going to be going on the back of the top, so I'm just going to center it and stitch it around. Center this on the bottom front. And here's my finished luggage wrap. It's ready to be wrapped around the handle of your suitcase, and you're off to a great trip. Okay, if you have any questions, give us a call at Attic Treasures in Occoquan, Virginia at 703-490-1536. Or if you have any questions or comments, you can send me an email directly at waltzquilt@yahoo.com. And if you'd like a copy of this design in PES format, then send me an email request. Okay, until next month, see you later.